Hello and welcome back to our podcast, where we discuss all things Web3, cryptocurrency, and blockchain. Today, we're going to be talking about how ERC-4337 is changing on-chain interaction. I'm Jane, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Nike.
It's great to be here, and I'm excited to dive into this topic today. So, let's start by talking about wallets and accounts, which are key primitives in Web3. However, there's often confusion around the terms, so let's clear that up first.
That's right, Nike. A crypto wallet stores assets that are held on the blockchain, and it's used to buy and sell assets, as well as to interact with dApps for authentication or proof of identity. Each wallet holds a private key that it needs to function. However, using a private key is a hassle and means that a central point of failure exists, creating a major security risk.
Absolutely. An account is also a place to store assets and interact with dApps, and it has its own public address for contract interaction. It can do the same things wallets can, except that the account's private key is connected to a wallet, as opposed to having its own separate key. This removes any security advantage of storing assets in multiple accounts, even though they have separate public addresses, as they're always tied back to a parent wallet.
Right. And this is where ERC-4337 comes in. It's a new Ethereum standard that introduces account abstraction, which is a way to separate the concept of an account from the wallet. This means that the private key associated with an account can be decoupled from the parent wallet, making it more secure and giving users more control over their assets.
That's a great point. With account abstraction, users can have multiple accounts associated with one wallet, and each account can have its own private key. This means that the interactions from those access points can sync, and the risk of a central point of failure is significantly reduced. It also enables users to have more fine-grained control over their assets.
Crypto wallets store assets that are held on the blockchain and can be used to buy and sell assets, as well as to interact with dApps for authentication or proof of identity. But the private key that a wallet needs to function can be a hassle to use, and it creates a major security risk.
Absolutely. On the other hand, an account is a place to store assets and interact with dApps, but its private key is connected to a wallet, as opposed to having its own separate key. This means that storing assets in multiple accounts won't remove any security advantage since they're always tied back to a parent wallet.
And there are other issues with wallets and accounts, such as the lack of consistency in language and experiences across different wallet apps. For example, Coinbase, MetaMask, and Blockstream Green all have different ways of adding wallets or accounts, which makes it difficult for users to understand how to use them safely and securely.
Plus, there isn't one central identity manager that knows everything you're doing and allows you to move dApps, interactions, or tokens into groups. This inconsistency between apps around what wallets and accounts are limits how the user can control their digital identity.
But there's hope on the horizon. ERC-4337 lays out the idea of account abstraction, AA, which plans to help implement smart contract wallets in the place of seeded wallets.
Smart contract wallets will let users set permissions, batch transactions, and control more robust settings around account recovery. This means that users can have much more robust settings and more trust that their wallets will be more safe and easy to use.
That's right. With AA, users will be able to have more control over their digital identities, making it easier for them to trust crypto and benefit from all that it has to offer. So Nike, it seems like ERC-4337 is paving the way for some exciting advancements in the world of crypto wallets and accounts. Can you give us a brief overview of some of the most impactful use cases that we might see with account abstraction?
Absolutely. One of the biggest benefits of account abstraction is the ability to bundle transactions. This means that instead of having to make multiple transactions to do things like swap tokens and buy NFTs, users can do it all in one transaction, saving on gas fees and making the purchase more seamless.
That sounds great. I'm sure many users would appreciate that. Are there any other use cases that you find particularly exciting?
Yes, social recovery is another one that could be a game changer. Instead of having to rely solely on seed phrases to recover a locked wallet, smart accounts can allow for trusted accounts or friends to help with recovery, making the process much simpler and less stressful.
Wow, that could be a major relief for many users who have been locked out of their wallets. What about self-custody? How does account abstraction improve that?
Well, with account abstraction, wallets can become more user-friendly and Web2-like. This means that users can more easily on-ramp and off-ramp, which can increase their security and trust in the platform.
That's really interesting. And finally, can you explain session keys and how they might benefit users?
Sure. Session keys allow users to pre-approve transactions based on a set of parameters. This can be particularly helpful in games, where users don't want to have to constantly approve transactions but still want to stay safe. Session keys can also enable subscriptions, which could be a game changer for many Web3 companies looking to create a steady revenue stream. I think one of the most interesting use cases is bundling transactions. Being able to swap tokens and purchase an NFT all in one transaction is a game changer. It not only saves gas, but it also makes the whole process more user-friendly.
And I love the idea of social recovery. It can be such a headache to get locked out of your wallet, and the process of recovering it can be really intimidating. But with smart accounts, a trusted friend or account could get you back in without having to deal with seed phrases.
And there are so many teams working on bringing these features to mainstream audiences. So now some of the teams working on ERC-4337 that we should keep an eye out for are Patch Wallet, Stackup, Argent, and Starknet.
Yes, these teams are doing some really interesting work. For example, Patch Wallet allows users to log in with their GitHub, Twitter, or email accounts without the need for seed phrases. This is great for claiming airdrops and attestation, as each login is verified and added to the wallet's profile.
And Stackup is building infrastructure for smart contract wallets. Developers can build their own wallets using ERC-4337, access bundlers and nodes, and sponsor gasless transactions. This could make it easier for developers to build and deploy their own wallets.
And then there's Argent, which is an account abstraction wallet on Ethereum. It features cheap transactions because of ZK Sync's L2 network, offers users yield options, and implements social wallet recovery. This could be a great option for users who are looking for a user-friendly and secure wallet.
And finally, there's Starknet, which is a smart contract wallet where transaction fees are paid by a specific token that the Starknet OS handles. This could be a great option for users who want to use a specific token for their transactions.
Yes, all of these teams are doing really interesting work, but what do you think the end result should be for the ecosystem?
Well, I think the end result should be a more user-friendly and familiar experience for users. For example, setting recurring payments for a subscription should be as easy as Face ID approval for a stablecoin transaction.
Yes, that's a great point. Making these kinds of experiences more familiar to Web2 users could make it easier for them to join Web3. And I also think that third-party sponsors could play a big role in making apps easier for users and requiring less friction.
Absolutely. Third-party sponsors could help cover gas fees for users, which could make it more accessible for users who may not have a lot of funds.
I completely agree with the importance of a seamless user experience in managing wallets and accounts. Without it, users will just default back to Web2 systems, which is not what we want.
Yes, and it's exciting to see companies like Coinbase building wallet-as-a-service infrastructure that allows developers to create Web2-like experiences for their users. It's also great to hear about advanced technologies like multi-party computation, MPC, that allow wallets' private keys to be shared among multiple parties.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about wallets, one issue that needs to be addressed is the lack of unified vocabulary in the space. Users need to be able to understand and manage their assets in a more intuitive way, and this can only happen if industry standards are agreed upon.
I couldn't agree more. It's exciting to think about what the future of Web3 could look like if we prioritize a seamless user experience and industry-wide standards. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope you enjoyed listening to our discussion.
Remember, the world of Web3 is constantly evolving, and it's important to stay up to date with the latest developments in this space. So be sure to follow our podcast for future episodes on exciting topics in the Web3 world. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and share it with your friends and colleagues. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to bringing you more valuable content in the future. Thanks for listening.